All right, so this is gonna be my first experience doing a free fall jump. It was a halo jump. We do hey-ho and halo at which halo is high altitude low opening, and hey-ho is high altitude high opening. And we do both of those at the Marine Corps Free Fall School. I forgot what it's called. It's like MMPC multi mission parachute course. I don't really remember. I just kind of showed up and did it. Um, so I was a recon Marine, so that was part of our pipeline. We did airborne, free fall, SEER, and combat dive school. So kind of my experience, my first jump at free fall school, right? It's pretty nerve wracking. So you go to Casa Grande, Arizona. You're on your own, like you're in your own hotel room. Half of us had rental cars. My buddy, he came from one of the actual battalions, and he had a fast rental car. It was pretty sick. I can't remember what it was. And he basically lived with me since we were like the first course of like when they switched over to this like newer course. And so his hotel room was like an hour and a half from where we needed to go since it was at a new location. So he basically just lived with me. And it was a great time. It was super fun. All of that, right? Pretty to be expected with free fall school. So we show up on Monday. You know, for the most part, I think maybe one or two people might have been missing because they got they went to the wrong place or whatever, the one from before. But it's just like briefs for like Monday through Wednesday. They just like teach you the basics on like how to do like, you know, free fall operations, like how to be in a stack, how far away to be from each other, how close to be, how to like communicate on radios, wind calls, all that stuff. And I think we go over chute packing. Yeah, we do go over chute packing, which is like actually physically taking the parachute and putting it into like the like backpack container, right? So Thursday we have our test for that. So we test out, and then that's the chute that you use. You got to be able to pack it in like 20 minutes or something. Everyone passed it fine, obviously. Also, like I said, this course is very easy to get dropped from, right? If you have anything wrong with you in an inspection or you mess up in a jump, you're gonna get dropped. So it's pretty stressful. So the thing that didn't comprehend in my head was that the very first jump, so Monday we show up, and Friday I'm jumping a chute that I packed, and I'm jumping alone. Like another instructor is going to jump out with me, but I'm not attached to anybody. I've never gone skydiving. Like this is my first experience ever. So we show up, you know, we do our inspections, and then we watch our buddies go first. I'm in like the or the third or fourth or some. I'm in a different stick essentially. So I'm not staged waiting, and I'm not jumping. So I'm watching my buddies jump. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. And it hasn't really hit me yet. And then we line up, and then, you know, we wait, and then we go to the plane. So we get in the plane, and the nerves are starting to kind of flow, but we're all kind of like trying to show face. You're like, oh, this is great, you know, because we'd already done our 5 airborne school jumps, but the chute's pulled. You don't pull a chute. You just kind of jump and fall 1,000 feet with a parachute. We're jumping from like 12 or 13. I think it was like 12. Say we're between 13 to 11,000 feet. I think we'll say it's 12,000 feet we're jumping from. Somewhere in between there, I think. So we go, and I'm like, man, we're pretty high up. And I'm checking my altimeter, and we're at like 3,000 feet. And I'm like, oh. And then like 5,000. And then I'm like, wow. And by the time we reached our like 11, 12,000 feet where we were jumping from, it was like when you like are in a plane and you look and everything squares. That's what it was like. So we do our checks, you know, they say stand up. We start checking the guys in front of us, and there's like a red light, yellow light, green light. And then there's like a jump master in there. He like hangs out of the plane and like looks like he does all this crazy like stuff, and to make sure we're in the right like place to jump, like the right drop zone. And he's like, all right. And I'm like second to jump, and my buddy's in front of me, and he's like lined up like literally. So there's a ramp on the back, and he's standing up, just looking, standing on like the edge of the ramp. I was like, now my heart's like boom, 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 like beating out of my chest. I was so scared, like terrified, hands sweating, the whole shebang. So I'm like getting mentally ready because they told us, hey, I'm going to tap you and then we're just going. Like there's no hesitation. You just got to go right away because I'm jumping too. And I was like, okay, damn. His instructor taps him and immediately jumps out. I was like, and then he just jumped out too. It was like the craziest thing to see him like there and just boom, gone. I was like, oh shit, because I realized I'm jumping like 5 seconds later. So I go out, I put my hand, like I'm like holding on this rail, you know, because there's like a rail above, and I'm like looking down, freaking out. My instructor is like, hey, like kind of taps me, or like he was like, hey, and then like taps me. That's what it was. It was like he like said to me, like, so I look up at him and he tapped me and he was like hanging backwards and he jumped out backwards, like facing me. So imagine how I'm facing you watching the video right now. He was facing me like that and then went out backwards and he tapped me. So then I just jumped out after him thinking it was gonna be some like, you know, super smooth. So you gotta hold this position. Your like arms are to your side and like your legs are like, so your legs are like this, like kind of behind you, like lengthened out, and your arms, you know, are wide. Essentially creating a surface area for you to fly your body with. I just GTA felt. I was just like, kind of thing until I think he had to grab me because you wear these like orange jumpsuits with like the military parachute, like the military parachute on. It's called a PS2, but you wear like these orange jumpsuits and he like grabbed my jumpsuit. I'm pretty sure it's like handles and like evened me out. I know he had to do that before. I can't remember if it was on that jump. I'm pretty sure it was. And then I did like my turns or whatever I had to do for the jump and like show that I could check my altimeter, do like all these procedures, you know, he said. And by that time, it had already been like whatever, 20, 30 seconds. So it was already time to pull because we had to pull like 5,000 feet. I pull and it's like the craziest view because you're still like 5,000 feet in the air and you're just like sitting, steering. Like, it's the craziest feeling in the world. And, the terrifying part isn't over. Because like, great, your chute opened and you're not going to die. But now it's you and all your buddies in the air trying to not hit each other steering. So, you know, I'm sitting there steering, just trying not to hit anybody. No one hit anybody, luckily. And then you do like a landing pattern, which essentially is like you do a certain amount of feet this way, a certain amount of feet this way, a certain amount of feet this way, and then you come back to like wherever you need to go. So you basically create like a little box around where you need to go so that on your last 400 feet, you land perfectly in like the grass patch, theoretically, right, that you're supposed to land in the drop zone. But if you go over, you're going to land, at least in the particular like way that wind is pushing at the time. If we went over, we would go into a plane that was taking off, and if we went under, we would go into these like this like barbed wire fence, I guess. Like there's like, it was in the middle of nowhere in Arizona, so I'm assuming there was like some kind of animals or something that it was built for. Maybe it was like a property line, but it's like barbed wire fence. And there's like power lines around us too, which a guy that I knew before, I can't remember his name, but he got like a chunk of his leg. Like, look at a zombie bit him because he hit a power line, almost died. Anyway, deep from the point, right? I landed, everything was fine. I think I landed on my feet, but it was a pretty terrifying experience going from nothing to jumping out of a plane with a parachute that I packed, never having done a skydive in my life, you know, within 4 days of being at the course. But that's about all I have for that. We jumped twice a day, every day at the course, so it was pretty fun after that. Pretty big adrenaline dump. I think I went straight to sleep after because my adrenaline like crashed so hard. But if you, the weird thing is that you don't feel when you're jumping, you don't feel like you're falling because you're flying at terminal velocity, which means like you're flying like 120 miles an hour and you fall at 120 miles an hour. So it just feels like there's a big fan on you. So that's another like misconception people have. But you don't really feel like you're falling. You don't have like a stomach sinking feeling. I like like military free fall stuff out of planes. That's like all. That's my experience.